Well, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and this is take like 50. This should be a very simple video. There are only two guns in it. It is my entire 1911 collection. This is done by request, and these are two, of course, Wilson Combats. One's a CQB, and this one's a Protector. The hard part is trying to get this in between the jet planes, and also trying to, because I've got the door open right now, and because it's really nice outside, and also trying to get all the facts correct, because there's quite a bit of reason as to why I have these two guns, other than the fact that someone tried to sell them to me. Why did I choose these two particular guns, or why would I buy them? One, they're 5-inch government models. The original 1911 was a 5-inch government model, and they tend to have fewer problems as far as timing issues, that is, the actual gun cycling or locking up, and the bullet feeding in. So they tend to have fewer issues. Is that a fast, hard rule? No. There are some short 1911s and this, there, the other, and some smaller officers and that do, well. But they're also harder on springs, because when you reduce the mass of the actual slide, then you have to put a heavier spring in it, and the faster lockup times tend to be harder on the springs, this, there, the other, harder on the frame, harder on everything else. These just tend to, you have fewer problems and more ability to actually fire them fast, which is what these two guns are basically designed for. They're steel frame guns, which also aids in follow-up shots. They're not the easiest thing to carry, but, that's life. Now, what are some of the other features that I really like about these particular guns? And there are a lot of good 1911 manufacturers out there. These aren't the only, Wilson Combat is not the only one. I just happen to have two samples of Wilson Combat. If someone would have come at me wanting to trade or something else on another gun, then I would have those, Anyway, they have no metal injection molded parts. That might not be an issue to you, but I fire a lot of rounds, especially 45s. And that matters to me, just as far as the inconvenience of having to have someone work on it at, I want the most reliable, bomb-proof 1911, a 5-inch with no metal injection molded parts is the way to go. Normally. There are always exceptions, but normally that's the case. What's another thing? This front checkering on these two guns is very important to me when my hands get sweaty. The grips on these, of course, are VZ grips. This is an Operator 2. This is a Recon. The Recon, you have to wear gloves. It will make you bleed. The Operator 2 is basically a Recon in the front, where they have done just diagonal slashing in the G10 in the back to make it where it doesn't rip your skin off. What are some of the other features other than metal injection molding, other than the checkering, that I find important? The bump on the actual lemon squeezer safety or grip safety. Sometimes I have tried to grip one quick and not gotten a good purchase and not been able to shoot the gun when time mattered, and had to adjust my grip. Does that happen very often? No. But if I'll take it if I can get it. How about that? What are some other features? I like on the CQB the bevel on the actual magwell. This Protector, doesn't have as much of a bevel, so I like the bevel on that one better. It just makes that few times that it really counts, it makes it easier to actually do a speed reload. even a tactical reload, any type of situation, but mainly a speed reload. What are some other features that I just have to have? Ambi safeties, and I'd recommend that for anyone, not just left-handed people. A right-handed person, you know, if you don't have ambi safeties, you're never shooting with your left hand. If you never shoot with your left hand, how can you be proficient with a weapon? Because you need to be proficient in shooting with both hands. Am I as good with my right hand as I am my left? No. But I can at least hit something. And if I have time, then I can really hit something. But unfortunately, I'm just slower. Now, what are some other issues? I like full sight radius. I like that there back sight being right there, man. And that's just something that's important to me. Now, I'll show you something that's not important to me. Not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, if you look at these two weapons, this one has a full-length guide rod, this one doesn't. Does that matter to me? No. Is a full-length guide rod a selling point to me? No. There is absolutely, I have found no difference between the two. Sorry. I can't tell you if I'm shooting one with a full-length guide rod or not. Is it harder to take one down as a full-length guide rod? Yeah. So I prefer a plug. Is this a deal breaker? No. In competition, when people are way better than I am, they can tell the difference because of the weight. I can't. But you know, I'm not sitting there shooting the gun all the time, competition, this, that, or the other. So for just how much I shoot one, that's a feature. Is the ability to take 8 rounds important to me over 7? No. Just from my experience, a 7-round magazine is more reliable than an 8. Do people make reliable 8-round magazines? Yes. The only thing is, they're going to have to be magazines where, like on these, the metal sticks down below the actual grip. I have never seen one that was set where the metal, like a standard one, where the metal was flush with the base of the grip that worked over a long period of time. The springs tend to get weak, and just that little bit of extra metal coming out of the bottom tends to make them more reliable. Just because the spring has got more room and this, that, or the other, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's a small difference. Yeah, it's a few millimeters. But in my experience, you got to have that to have a good 8-round magazine. There might be different nowadays, but back in the day, I always, if my butt really was on the line, I tended to go towards 7-round magazines. But that's, you know, your mileage may vary. What are some other features that I really like about these guns? They're made in the USA. That doesn't matter all the time to all of my guns, but if I can get it, I'm going to take it. I would much prefer a gun being made in the United States as opposed to it not being made in the United States. There are specific times where I would probably rather have a Glock from Europe because they have different EPA laws and can do a different coating on the Glock. They do that Tenifer finish, and the USA Glock, because of the cyanide that's used in the European process, is not used in the American process, and they just do it a different way. Have I had enough experience with the American-made one? No. Have anybody complained? I don't know. Do I care? Not really. But there has to be a reason for me to choose one over the other, and I have tended to like these guns better. As I said, your mileage may vary. those Rock Island Armory 1911s are very good 1911s, and you can take those things and build those into race guns. There's been quite a few people do it and just fire the damn thing and just rock and roll. But now, since I've pared down all my 1911s, and you could probably go to some of my other videos where I had a bunch of 1911s for testing and for various reasons, and I was borrowing a couple of them and but this is what I have, and these are the reasons I have them. Some of the features I like, some of the features I don't like, and you know, as I said, your mileage may vary, but these tend to be the most user-friendly ones that I've had. 5-inch government models, no MIM parts, and the rest of it depends on just what you like. But for the amount I shoot, these are what I gravitated towards. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and have a good one.